Hello and welcome to America's Heartland. I'm Paul Ryan. Farmers and ranchers all across the Heartland have a lot going for them. After all, as we often point out, they are the world's most productive. But things aren't always perfect down on the farm. Besides weather problems, fickle markets, and everything from pests to paperwork, add crime to the burdens farmers must face. Law enforcement agencies across the Heartland have different ways of dealing with a problem more often associated with the big city. Now, to give you an idea of what they are up against, Jason Schultz joined up with a team near Jackson, Mississippi.
We're going to Lewis Sundowner Trailers down here south of Jackson on 55. We've recently had a rash of trailer thefts in the area down here. Cattle trailers, utility trailers, and tractors. They're getting stuff like that. We got a big ring of it going on around. There's several of us involved in this investigation.
Jeff Stewart is an investigator for Mississippi's Agricultural Theft Bureau. It's a statewide law enforcement unit tasked with investigating crimes involving the state's farming community. Like lots of police investigators, Jeff spends a good deal of time doing old-fashioned gumshoe work.
How you doing? You Mr. Lewis?
Yes, sir.
I'm Jeff Stewart with
Tracking down tips and talking with crime victims like Jay Lewis of Lewis Sundowner Trailers.
They came in on Friday and took one of them, and they came back on Saturday night and took two others.
There are 9 investigators like Jeff stationed across the state. The Theft Bureau isn't part of the state police, it's actually part of the Department of Agriculture.
We work all agricultural related crimes, and it could be the theft of anything from seeds to chemicals to equipment to timber, finished products, finished lumber, tools, tack, livestock.
Has a surge brake on the front of it, 16 foot long.
Okay.
As important as a stolen horse trailer is to Jay Lewis, it's the kind of crime that can fall through the cracks for overburdened police and sheriff's departments.
Basically one just like this.
Just like this one, yes.
We're able to dedicate all of our time to these type of crimes and frees them up to handle violent crimes, drug-related crimes, those type things that they get a lot of pressure on.
If you can show me where they came in down here, I'd greatly appreciate that.
All righty.
It's getting harder and harder to make a living with agriculture, and then you take some theft losses on top of rising fuel costs, rising seed costs, fertilizer costs. It hurts them bad.
Yeah, we added a new state-of-the-art security system, and on the backside we had this ditch that divided our property because the fence is so far back, and we came back through and we dug it out, made almost a moat. As you can see, we have about an 8 or 10 foot span here. It'd be pretty tough to get a trailer across now.
Equipment theft is a nationwide problem. And here in Mississippi, it makes up about 65% of the Ag Theft Bureau's caseload.
They're out in the open. Oftentimes they're unattended, no one around. Keys are usually left in them. And they'll come in under the cover of darkness, sometimes in daylight, with a trailer and load a tractor up.
In Mississippi, the other big agricultural crime is timber theft.
Usually come on unoccupied land where there's no dwellings, cut the wood, take it to a mill and sell it.
Trees don't have serial numbers. I gotta imagine it's pretty hard to investigate these sorts of things.
It is. Normally when we get involved in one of these cases, sometimes they're a year old, and you just have to get out there and start scrapping and looking for witnesses and points that it may have been delivered to or whatever, trying to get some information on it.
Last year, the Ag Theft Bureau worked more than $5 million worth of theft, and Roberts says the team has a very good recovery rate. One part of their success, all of the investigators have a personal connection with agriculture. When Jeff isn't fighting crime, he's tending to a small herd of cattle. He grew up on a Mississippi farm and now has his own small farm, raising cattle and horses.
Woo! Come on, yeah!
That connection means Jeff and the other investigators know the culture of agriculture. They know the difference between a Holstein and a Hereford.
So sometimes, it gets personal. You try and disassociate yourself with that, but, it's kind of hard not to when you see a guy, like Mr. Lewis there, where it really hurts his bottom line when he loses that much inventory.
For his part, Jay Lewis is confident the ag investigators will find his stolen trailers.
It'll take a couple of years, possibly. Hopefully not, but it might. But I think we're going to find it sooner or later. It'll show up.
It's a slower pace, no kicking indoors and chasing down murder suspects. But Jeff says being an ag investigator is his way of helping out his fellow farmers.
So I've been interested in agriculture all my life and policing as well. So I couldn't think of a better way to put the two together than joining up with the Agricultural Theft Bureau.